And I know because I've been working on the BET Hip Hop Awards for 3 years. Shit was like the budget, not for me, but the budget just kept getting chopped and chopped and chopped. And last year,
So, yeah, this is one of them things that's going to be like, so you don't necessarily have an issue with the budget being chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped when it doesn't necessarily relate to you. And this is the problem where I always talk about big fish always eat little fish, right? Because everybody wants to. What's good? It's your boy, the Black Anglo-Saxon, your favorite neighborhood political scientist, and I'm back again with another video on From the Hood to the Hill. Today we're gonna be talking about your boy Fat Joe. He had and made some comments about BET and it being gentrified. I don't necessarily think that he's wrong in his statements, but I do think that there is some double talk. So we're gonna get into it because we do a lot of breaking down double talk and how these people use convenient moments to, articulate what should have been said 10, maybe 20 years prior to the situation because the damage is already done. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the video. Hit the like button, hit the share button, please subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate it. So this is going to be Fat Jizzo. Let me play this.
this is a form of gentrification what's going on right now. Right. So I don't know if y'all really want to ask me about this shit right here. Right. So BET came up as a community station for Black people, right? The urban culture. And our man, what is Bob Johnson, took the check. He sold it, first Black billionaire, whatever the case may be.
Now, I want y'all to keep in mind and keep it framed that when Fat Joe is talking, understand that Fat Joe is not of Black African-American descent himself, which isn't necessarily problematic, but keep it in proper context. So when you're listening to it and you actually and when he makes the comments about the gentrification piece, that it comes in full circle and why he probably is the very wrong person, especially to be carrying his message, even though there is some truth in it.
He sold it. He sold it to Viacom and Paramount, MTV and them, VH1 and them.
Now, Viacom, as y'all know, is the larger umbrella corporation. And Viacom is just going to be one of those big conglomerate companies, organizations where you got Nickelodeon, Paramount Pictures, you got other organizations up under there, CBS. So it's just a hodgepodge of basically media companies and outlets. And so when he's talking about Viacom, he's basically talking about a mass media company that has a bunch of subsidiaries under there, just for all my people.
Little by little over the years, quietly, they've been firing a lot of people behind the scenes in BET, and everybody who has something to say, they've been firing them and this and that. And I know because I've been working on the BET Hip Hop Awards for 3 years. Shit was like the budget, not for me, but the budget just kept getting chopped and chopped and chopped. And last year.
So, yeah. This is one of them things that's going to be like, so you don't necessarily have an issue with the budget being chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped when it doesn't necessarily relate to you. And this is the problem where I always talk about big fish always eat little fish, right? Because everybody wants to, quote unquote, play the game until the game kind of catches up to them in particular. So if you listen to what he's talking about and you listen to what he's saying, is he's going and saying that he knows and has this background information and detail based on the fact that he has worked closely in line with BET and seen it up close as it relates to how it's being shaved off the back. But his projects weren't specifically being shaved off the back. And so now, because it is directly affecting him, he is now choosing to speak out on a matter that he should have spoken out prior to. Because again, any person who is politically savvy or business savvy, which I think both of those two kind of overlap, even though they aren't necessarily interchangeable, he would have understood that the trajectory that BET was on, that eventually the BET Awards, as well as I was about to say Soul Train, not the Soul Train Awards, the Hip Hop Awards would be essentially cut. Now, he gonna get into this conversation a little bit further.
I debuted my single with Khaled in the VMAs, and Katy Perry's still flying through the air in the VMAs. They still blowing out of the cannons. They still flying in the air. They still got all the tricks. They still got the budgets. They got the shit, you know. And so I think in the entertainment world, I don't think I know this was like a form of gentrification. They kept underfunding them, and you ain't got no money to be creative. That's why you was watching the Ratchet Awards and all that. They ain't had no bread.
So here's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily call it gentrification in the sense that gentrification is an economic phenomenon that takes place, as I have expressed here before, because of wealth calcification and how it displaces not just Black people, but also everything in between in the buffers, including those who might not necessarily be the most wealthiest of whites. And so when he's comparing it to gentrification, it's not necessarily that, but what it is it is a move to gut one of the last apparatus that Black people have to actually push out media and push out their narratives, because unfortunately BET has long not been an accurate description of what Black culture is, and unfortunately it has been used to muddy and sully the actual Black image. And so if people want to actually be honest about this and have a real conversation about this, BET has been the bane of our community. BET, unfortunately, has not been for the Black community since it was sold. You have right now Tyler Perry, who is basically at the top of the network in terms of how many shows are actually on. And a lot of that is just content that is second screen content. I talked about that in one of my last videos, where it's just basically trash shows that are going to be consumed in a way where you can be doing all kinds of other stuff. But basically he's hitting you with these superficial images that aren't necessarily a depiction of the Black community, and in some ways an over exaggeration of the smaller portions of it. Now, Fat Joe, where he is right, is that it was systematically rooted out. But the problem is that Fat Joe, you are Latina or Latino, but you positioning yourself in the Black community, in Black culture, was done so in a way that we did not have the same level of input and access to the BET Awards, because let y'all tell it, we don't have culture. So when you are put there as a buffer, that's why you are put there, not because you're this great person, but you're put there because you don't necessarily understand the political or the business savvy of how big fish eat little fish. Like, that was the plan the whole time. But because your checks was okay, you were okay. And again, I get it. Everybody is self-interested to a certain extent, but don't come out right here, right now, and then sit here and act like you're surprised, or that you act like you didn't play your role in your hand in it, because you did. You sat here and in this conversation, you said what you saw behind the scenes, and you seen the trajectory, and you seen how it was mapped out, you seen how it was being planned out, you seen the writing on the wall, but yet you still was taking the checks, and yet you still stayed silent because you wanted to keep eating. You kept eating, and now guess what? You are now on a chopping block as well, because you didn't speak when you should have spoken. But again, Let me know what y'all think. Am I tripping? Am I off? You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily here to always be right, but I think I'm kind of right on this one. I think everybody can agree that BT been trashed for a multitude of years. The Boondocks hit it spot on in one of their episodes, but nobody really like to have these conversations and hold a lot of these celebrities accountable, because Fat Joe is also the same person who was on the same podcast with Jadakiss talking about rappers and how they portrayed these fake lives and living paycheck to paycheck. And so, you know, like I said, drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think, man. Is BET just being gentrified, or was it gentrified like 20 years ago? Or am I tripping? Is it just part of business and that's how it goes? But let me know what y'all think. Your favorite neighborhood political scientist, the Black Anglo-Saxon. I'll catch y'all on another one. Thank you.